In Japan, monks live so lightly that their entire lives could fit inside a single wooden box, a small space holding only what truly matters. Their homes are quiet, uncluttered, and filled not with things, but with presence. Yet here in the US, especially for many seniors over 60, the story is often very different. Garages overflow with tools long unused, attics groan with holiday decorations that haven't seen light in years, and closets hide outfits from decades gone by, symbols of lives well lived, but also weights carried forward. This hidden burden can feel overwhelming, turning peaceful years into constant reminders of what to sort, clean, or give away. But what if there were another way? Japanese wisdom, drawn from centuries of practice, offers gentle lessons that can help you let go of both physical clutter and emotional heaviness. Imagine waking up and walking into a space where everything you see feels intentional, where the noise of excess has been replaced by calm. Imagine knowing your children won't have to carry the heavy task of deciding what to keep or discard when you're gone. These are not just rules for monks, they are insights for anyone seeking peace after 60. So ask yourself, what would it feel like to finally lay down the weight you can't see? If this already speaks to you, hit the like button. It tells YouTube this message matters for seniors like us. Brother Daigo was not always a monk. For most of his life, he was the proud owner of a bustling calligraphy shop in Kyoto, Japan. His shelves were lined with brushes of every size, delicate papers imported from across the country, and jars of ink he mixed with his own hands. Customers streamed in daily, students, businessmen, families buying scrolls for weddings and births. His craft gave him recognition, his store gave him security, and his possessions gave him the feeling that he had built a meaningful life. But as the years passed and age caught up with him, the shop began to feel less like a source of joy and more like a burden. At 69, Brother Daigo stood in the middle of his store surrounded by stacks of unsold scrolls and shelves heavy with tools he no longer needed. And he asked himself a question that pierced deeper than any brushstroke he had ever painted. What will my children remember, my possessions or my presence? This was not a question of ink or paper. It was a question of legacy. He realized that when his time came, his children would not be comforted by the sight of stacked boxes or dusty tools. They would long for his laughter, his advice, his quiet companionship at the dinner table. And in that realization, the weight of all he had accumulated suddenly felt heavier than ever before. He could continue to hold on to it, or he could make a different choice. Daigo chose the path of lightness. He closed the doors to his shop, gave away most of what he owned, and walked into the monastery with little more than the clothes on his back and a single calligraphy brush to remind him of the life he once lived. In the monastery, Daigo did not find loss, he found freedom. He discovered 7 rules of minimalism, rooted in Japanese tradition, that gave him not just clarity but peace. They were not about stripping life bare, but about uncovering the beauty of living with less. And for seniors after 60, his journey holds a powerful lesson. It is never too late to redefine what truly matters. Rule 1. The tatami principle. In traditional Japanese homes, life unfolds on tatami mats, woven straw flooring that defines the very shape of daily living. A single mat is about 3 feet by 6 feet, just enough for one person to sit, sleep, or kneel comfortably. For centuries, monks and families alike have learned to arrange their lives within the modest boundaries of these mats, and in doing so, they discovered something powerful. Peace is not found in endless space, but in learning that one small square is enough. The tatami is more than flooring. It is a teacher. Its clear boundaries remind those who step on it that life feels calmer when it is contained, measured, and intentional. Brother Daigo, like many monks before him, found solace in this principle. Living in a room where space was limited forced him to choose carefully what deserved to stay in his life and what could be left behind. The tatami became a quiet guide, whispering, "You don't need more to live fully, you need only enough." For seniors in the United States, this principle carries special weight. After 60, many find themselves surrounded by rooms that feel more like storage units than living spaces. Bedrooms crowded with unused furniture, dens overflowing with keepsakes, and kitchens stacked high with gadgets. Each space becomes a reminder of things once useful but now rarely touched. And yet, the abundance does not always bring comfort. it often brings stress, decision fatigue, and even safety hazards. The tatami principle offers a different way. Instead of looking at the whole house and feeling overwhelmed, start by claiming one small piece zone. It could be your favorite chair by the window, a small corner of the porch, or even a single table cleared of clutter. This area becomes your personal tatami, a space where nothing unnecessary intrudes, where you can sit with tea, breathe deeply, and feel calm. By carving out one intentional space, you create a sanctuary that tells your mind and body, here you are safe, here you are free. This is not about discarding everything at once. It is about learning, like the monks, to honor smallness. A tatami space teaches you to shift your focus from what you own to how you feel within it. It invites you to ask, is this object helping me rest, or is it crowding me? Does this space give me energy, or does it drain me? Over time, the lesson of one mat begins to ripple outward. The piece of one uncluttered chair may lead you to clear a desk, then a shelf, then a whole room. For seniors, this small step is not just practical, it is empowering. It proves that even in later years, transformation is possible, not by doing everything at once, but by beginning with enough. The tatami principle is not about deprivation, it is about creating a sacred corner of clarity in a noisy world. And perhaps the most beautiful part is this: when you sit in your chosen space, you'll find that peace has less to do with the size of your home and more to do with the lightness of your heart. If you could choose one space right now to be your tatami, where would it be? Share it in the comments, you may inspire someone else to find theirs. Rule 2. Bowing to the ordinary. In Japanese culture, bowing is far more than a gesture of respect toward another person. It is a practice woven into daily life, extending beyond human interactions to include meals, tools, and even the simple act of sweeping the floor. In monasteries, monks bow before lifting a broom, bow before setting down a bowl, and bow to the very act of labor itself. It is a living reminder that gratitude is not reserved for grand moments, it belongs to the smallest, most ordinary rhythms of the day. Brother Daigo remembers his first lesson in this practice. He was asked to sweep a temple corridor, a task so plain it almost felt beneath notice. But before touching the broom, the head monk paused, placed the broom gently before him, and bowed deeply. At first, Daigo was puzzled. Why bow to a broom? But as he repeated the gesture, something shifted inside him. That bow transformed sweeping into something sacred. The act was no longer about dust on the floor, it was about honoring the tool, the task, and the moment itself. For seniors in the United States, this lesson carries a quiet power. Life after 60 can sometimes feel overshadowed by routine, taking medications, making tea, folding laundry, watering plants, or preparing simple meals. These tasks may feel repetitive, even burdensome. Yet what if, instead of rushing through them, you paused in gratitude? A small nod before lifting your coffee mug, a moment of thanks before turning on the faucet, a gentle acknowledgement before pulling out a chair. Each bow reframes the act, infusing it with presence and calm. This practice does not require a literal bow. It could be a pause, a deep breath, or even a silent thank you whispered in your heart. The point is to recognize the gift within the ordinary. When you pour a glass of water, you are not simply hydrating, you are connecting to the miracle that water is available. When you fold a towel, you are not just putting away fabric, you are preparing comfort for yourself or someone you love. These small moments, when honored, stop being chores and start becoming rituals of peace. For seniors, this shift matters deeply. Gratitude in the ordinary has been shown to reduce stress, ease loneliness, and increase joy. It transforms daily life from something endured into something cherished. The bow, whether physical or symbolic, anchors you in the present moment and reminds you that simplicity holds its own quiet abundance. Try this. Tomorrow morning, before you begin your day, pause before the very first task. Whether it's brewing coffee or opening a window, take one breath, nod slightly, and treat the act as sacred. Notice how this simple pause changes the way you feel. Bowing to the ordinary is not about ceremony, it is about teaching the heart to see value in the everyday. For seniors after 60, this practice can turn the familiar into a source of calm strength, showing that peace is not found in extraordinary events, but in the way you honor the smallest details of daily living. What simple task in your day could become a ritual of gratitude? Share it below. You may inspire another senior to find beauty in the ordinary. Rule 3. The robe of enough. In every Japanese monastery, monks are given a robe, simple, functional, and humble. It is not a fashion statement, nor is it replaced with every season's change. Instead, it is carefully mended, patch by patch, thread by thread, sometimes lasting decades. The robe tells a quiet story. Sufficiency is not about having many things but about learning to care for the few that serve you well. Each stitch becomes a reminder that enough is, in fact, abundant. Brother Daigo often reflected on this when he compared his monk's robe with the wardrobe he once owned as a shopkeeper. Before joining the monastery, he had closets filled with garments, silk robes for special events, crisp shirts for customers, coats for each season. Yet despite the variety, he often found himself worrying over what to wear, buying more when he felt dissatisfied, and still never feeling complete. It was only when he put on the simple monk's robe that he realized the weight of choice had been lifted. No longer distracted by options, he discovered freedom in sufficiency. For seniors over 60 in the United States, the robe of enough speaks directly to a familiar reality. Many closets are crowded with decades of clothes, jackets from the 1980s, formal wear from weddings long past, outfits saved just in case but rarely touched. Opening the closet can become overwhelming, a tangle of fabric that feels less like comfort and more like clutter. Yet when you ask yourself honestly, how many of those clothes do you actually wear? Which ones bring you peace, warmth, or joy? The truth is, very few. Minimalism offers a gentle but powerful alternative. Instead of filling your closet, curate it. Keep only those items that bring true comfort or hold a story worth remembering. The sweater your grandchild knitted, the scarf that warms you every winter, the soft shirt you reach for on calm mornings, these are clothes that matter. The rest, while once useful, may now be quietly draining your energy, each hanger a reminder of excess rather than sufficiency. The robe of enough teaches seniors to shift from ownership to appreciation. You do not need 30 pairs of pants when 3 well-fitting ones will serve you faithfully. You do not need a wall of shoes when a few sturdy pairs carry you with ease. By letting go of what no longer fits your life, you not only create space in your closet, you create space in your mind. This practice has another layer of meaning, legacy. Many seniors worry about the burden their possessions may leave behind for children and grandchildren. By living with enough today, you give your loved ones the gift of simplicity tomorrow. They will remember you not for the clutter you left, but for the grace with which you lived. Try this simple step. Open your closet and choose one item to honor and one to release. Hold the first and recall why it matters. Then release the second, trusting that its purpose has been fulfilled. Over time, this rhythm of honoring and releasing will transform your wardrobe into a reflection of sufficiency, not excess. The monk's robe is not about deprivation, it is about clarity. For seniors, embracing the robe of enough is not just about clothes. It is about choosing a way of life that values comfort, meaning, and freedom over accumulation. It is proof that simplicity is not less, it is liberation. What item in your wardrobe feels like your robe of enough? Share it in the comments. You may help someone else see the value of sufficiency. Rule 4. The tea ritual of enough. In Japan, the tea ceremony, known as chanoyu, is not about the tea itself. It is not about fine porcelain cups, expensive leaves, or lavish gatherings. Instead, it is about presence, gratitude, and mindfulness woven into the ordinary act of drinking tea. A host prepares each step with care, from boiling the water to whisking the matcha, and every motion is deliberate, calm, and filled with meaning. Silence is not awkward in this ritual, it is the very essence of it. Brother Daigo remembers his first tea ritual in the monastery. He expected something elaborate, perhaps exotic blends or ornate settings. Instead, he was handed a simple bowl, filled with hot water and powdered green tea. There was no sugar, no milk, no extra flavor, only the quiet fragrance of leaves and the sound of his own breath in the still room. Yet in that simplicity, Daigo felt something profound. The tea was not just a drink, it was a teacher. It whispered that joy was not about having more, but about fully experiencing what was already there. For seniors in the United States, the lesson of the tea ritual carries powerful relevance. Life after 60 can feel rushed in its own quiet ways: doctor appointments, medication schedules, family responsibilities, and the lingering busyness of decades past. Many find themselves gulping down coffee while watching the news, or drinking tea absent-mindedly while scrolling through a phone. But what if, instead of rushing through these moments, you turn them into rituals of peace? Creating a personal tea ritual of enough does not require Japanese tea sets or elaborate steps. It can be as simple as choosing one favorite mug, filling it with tea or coffee, and sitting in stillness for 10 minutes each day. No TV, no phone, no distractions. Just you, the warmth of the cup in your hands, and the quiet of the moment. That pause becomes a form of meditation, reminding you that life is not measured by how much you consume but by how deeply you experience it. This daily ritual can be transformative for seniors. It provides a steady anchor in the day, a practice of grounding when life feels uncertain or overwhelming. The warmth of the cup can soothe arthritic hands, the fragrance of the drink can awaken the senses, and the quiet pause can lower stress, ease anxiety, and bring clarity. What seems small, a cup of tea or coffee, becomes a doorway into presence. More than that, the tea ritual creates emotional space for reflection. As you sit with your drink, you may recall cherished memories, savor gratitude for another morning, or simply allow yourself to breathe without pressure. It becomes a moment of self-respect, a reminder that you are worthy of calm, no matter what else is happening. For seniors who worry about legacy, this ritual also holds symbolic meaning. The tea ceremony has always been about passing down not things, but experiences. By creating your own ritual, you leave behind an example for children and grandchildren, that peace is found not in possessions, but in presence. Try this simple practice tomorrow. Make your cup of tea or coffee, sit in your favorite chair, hold the cup with both hands, and take 3 slow breaths before your first sip. Feel the warmth, notice the aroma, taste it fully. In that moment, you will discover the truth of the tea ritual, that enough is not about more. It is about being fully here. What drink would you choose for your daily ritual of enough? Tea, coffee, or something else? Share it in the comments. You may inspire someone else to begin their own practice of presence. Rule 5. The Evening Lantern. In Japanese temples, dusk is marked by a quiet but powerful ritual. As the sun sinks and shadows lengthen, monks light simple paper lanterns. Their glow is soft, never harsh, and it fills the space with a calm warmth. Then, as night settles, the lanterns are gently extinguished. This act is not about lighting or darkness, it is about release. Lighting the lantern honors the day just lived, while extinguishing it symbolizes letting go of what no longer needs to be carried into the night. Brother Daigo often said this ritual taught him one of life's most important lessons: closure brings freedom. When he first entered the monastery, his mind would still race at night, unfinished tasks, memories of customers, regrets over decisions. But the lantern practice gave him a new rhythm. Each evening, as he watched the flame dim and disappear, he reminded himself that the day was complete. Whatever burdens remained could stay with the day. Tomorrow would carry its own light. He began to sleep deeper, breathe easier, and greet each morning without the heaviness of yesterday. For seniors in the United States, this practice offers a simple but profound invitation. Life after 60 often carries its own mix of worries, health concerns, family challenges, financial stresses, or even the weight of loneliness. Nights can become restless, the mind replaying the same thoughts again and again. Yet what if you created your own version of the evening lantern? Not necessarily with fire, but with a ritual that signals to your heart, it is time to let go. This could mean physically releasing one item each evening, perhaps dropping a piece of clutter into a donation box or tossing a note into the trash. Or it could mean writing down one worry on paper, then setting it aside, trusting that you do not need to carry it into your dreams. It might even be as simple as closing your eyes, taking a deep breath, and saying to yourself, "I have done enough for today. I release it now." Such rituals may seem small, but they hold great power. Studies show that bedtime routines of release reduce anxiety, improve sleep, and promote mental clarity. For seniors, this is more than comfort, it is health. A rested body heals better, a quiet mind remembers better, and a heart that knows how to let go finds more joy in the present. The evening lantern can also carry emotional meaning for family. Imagine your children or grandchildren noticing your nightly ritual, seeing that you face endings not with fear but with grace. You teach them, without words, that peace is not about clinging but about trusting in cycles, day into night, worry into rest, weight into lightness. That becomes a legacy more valuable than any possession. Tomorrow evening, try this. Before bed, choose one small thing to release. It could be an object, a thought, or even an unfinished task. Mark it with a gesture, turning off a lamp, closing a journal, or whispering a quiet thank you. Let that be your lantern. Notice how your body feels as you drift into sleep lighter than before. What would you choose to release tonight if you had your own lantern? Share it in the comments. You may help another senior discover the freedom of letting go. Rule 6. The sound of wooden clappers. In Japanese temples, there is a sound that slices through the silence like a sharp reminder of presence. It comes from the haishiji, a pair of wooden clappers struck together to mark the start or end of a ritual, a meditation, or a performance. The sound is crisp, brief, and unmistakable. It does not linger like a bell, nor does it fade slowly. Instead, it cuts through distraction and calls everyone, without words, to focus. In monasteries, that sound means, begin again. Brother Daigo often spoke of how the clappers changed his sense of time. Before the monastery, his days blurred together. Shop duties, errands, conversations that rushed without pause. But when he entered temple life, every strike of the clappers divided his day into chapters. Morning meditation began with the sound. Evening meals ended with it. Each sharp crack reminded him that life was not one endless stream, but a series of moments, each worthy of full attention. It taught him that endings and beginnings do not need to be grand. They can be as simple as the sound of wood on wood. For seniors in the United States, the lesson of the wooden clappers holds particular meaning. After 60, days can feel repetitive, marked more by routine than by fresh beginnings. Mornings blend into afternoons, and sometimes weeks seem to pass in a blur. This can create a sense of stagnation, where life feels heavy with sameness. But imagine if you had a signal, a sound, to reset the mind and spirit throughout the day. It could be a bell on your porch, a gentle wind chime outside your window, or even a phone alarm set to a soothing tone. The point is not the sound itself, but the meaning you give it, a reminder to pause, breathe, and return to the present. This practice can be powerful in everyday life. The sound could signal the start of your morning tea ritual, the close of your evening release, or even a pause in the middle of the day to stretch, pray, or reflect. Each time you hear it, you are invited to let go of what just passed and step fully into what comes next. In this way, your day becomes less of a blur and more like a series of intentional steps, each one fresh and alive. There is also a health benefit. Many seniors struggle with stress, racing thoughts, or feelings of disconnection. A sound ritual acts like a reset button for the nervous system. It interrupts worry, lowers tension, and draws you back into the present moment. Just as monks gather their focus at the sound of the haishiji, you too can reclaim calm and clarity with your own signal. The sound ritual can also become a symbol for family. Imagine your grandchildren visiting and hearing the gentle strike of a bell or the sway of wind chimes. They notice that, in your home, sound does not always mean noise, it can mean peace. You leave behind not only memories, but a rhythm that teaches them how to breathe in a fast-paced world. Try this. Tomorrow, choose a sound that will be your clapper. Decide what it will mean, perhaps to pause, perhaps to release, perhaps to begin again. When you hear it, stop for a moment. Place your feet firmly on the floor, take a breath, and allow the sound to reset you. That is the heart of the wooden clappers, a call to start fresh, again and again. If you had your own wooden clappers, what moment of your day would you mark with them? Share your answer in the comments. You might inspire someone else to create their own rhythm of peace. Rule 7. The Empty Bowl Legacy. In monasteries across Japan, one of the most profound teachings is found in a simple wooden bowl. Monks carry it each day for their meals, and no matter how full it is when given, the bowl is always emptied before the day ends. Nothing is stored, nothing is hoarded. Each morning, it begins again, open and ready to receive. This cycle of filling and emptying is not just about food, it is a philosophy of life. The bowl symbolizes release, reminding monks that life is lighter when nothing unnecessary is carried forward. Brother Daigo often shared how this lesson changed his view of legacy. Before the monastery, he imagined leaving behind shelves of calligraphy tools, scrolls, and possessions that proved his years of labor. But over time, he realized those items, though once precious to him, would be burdensome for his children. They would not know which brush held meaning or which scroll to keep. What felt valuable to him could feel like weight to them. The empty bowl taught him that the greatest gift he could leave was not a house full of objects, but a memory of a father who lived with grace, clarity, and freedom. For seniors in the United States, this lesson strikes close to home. Many households are overflowing with decades of accumulation, china cabinets, attics stuffed with boxes, garages packed to the brim. While these things hold memories for the one who gathered them, for children and grandchildren, they can become an overwhelming responsibility. Sorting, deciding, donating, discarding, it can turn what should be a season of remembrance into a burden of labor. The empty bowl invites a different path. Instead of passing down clutter, seniors can choose to pass down stories. A family recipe shared over dinner, a tale of hardship that built resilience, a memory of laughter that carried you through sorrow, these are legacies that do not weigh down but lift up. Unlike possessions, they do not gather dust or demand storage space. They live in the hearts of those who hear them. And in sharing them, you lighten your own life while enriching theirs. Living with an empty bowl also creates peace for the present. Imagine opening a drawer and finding only what you truly use, or looking around a room and seeing space instead of piles. That space is not emptiness, it is freedom. It is the room to breathe, to invite others in, and to enjoy the years ahead without constant reminders of unfinished decluttering. This practice does not mean stripping life bare. It means being intentional. Keep the objects that truly matter, the photo album that tells your story, the quilt stitched by your grandmother, the book with your handwritten notes in the margins. But let go of what no longer serves you or your family's future. Each release is like emptying the bowl at the end of a meal, a gesture of trust that tomorrow will provide enough. If you begin today, even with one drawer or one box, you are giving your children the gift of peace. They will not remember you for the clutter you left behind but for the freedom you modeled. That is the true empty bowl legacy, a legacy not of possessions, but of love, wisdom, and lightness. What story or memory would you rather pass down than a possession? Share it in the comments. You may inspire another senior to leave behind a lighter, more meaningful legacy. Brother Daigo sits quietly on his tatami mat, his robe draped gently across his knees, and for the first time in years, his shoulders are free of weight. He is not surrounded by stacks of scrolls or crowded shelves, only the clean lines of a room bathed in stillness. He closes his eyes, breathes deeply, and smiles, not the hurried smile of a man rushing through life, but the calm smile of someone who has finally arrived at peace. The tatami beneath him whispers simplicity, the bowl at his side reflects release, and the silence around him affirms what he has always longed to know: enough is truly enough. Minimalism, he realized, was never about loss. It was about recovery, recovering dignity after years of distraction, recovering clarity after decades of accumulation, and recovering the peace that comes when life is no longer crowded by excess. His journey shows that when we choose less, we do not shrink our lives, we expand our freedom. Brother Daigo's smile is the smile of a man who has discovered that true wealth is measured not in possessions, but in lightness of heart. For seniors in the United States, this image holds deep relevance. Many are at a stage of life where questions of legacy, peace, and burden feel more pressing. The truth is, letting go is not just an act of decluttering, it is an act of love. It is telling your children, I will not leave you with burdens to carry. I will leave you with space, stories, and the memory of peace. It is telling yourself, I deserve to live the years ahead without being crowded by the past. And it is telling your spirit, I am free. The message is simple yet profound. When the house is lighter, the heart is freer. When your surroundings carry less weight, so does your soul. And when your soul is lighter, your days open into possibilities. More laughter, more connection, more moments of stillness like Brother Daigo's smile on the tatami. If this vision inspires you, tap like right now. It helps this wisdom reach more seniors who long for freedom in their later years. Share this with a friend over 60 who deserves a lighter, freer life, because no one should carry more than they need. And subscribe to Wise Aging Seniors, because every senior deserves the gift of peace, the gift of clarity, and the quiet smile that comes when you finally realize you have enough.